Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly how to start an LLC in Wyoming, and trust me, it's actually much simpler than most people think. Whether you're dreaming of launching your own online store, starting a consulting business, or just setting up your first side hustle, I'll break down everything you need to know to get your Wyoming LLC up and running. Now, before we dive into the nitty-gritty details, let's talk about why Wyoming has become such a popular choice for business owners across the country. You see, Wyoming has actually built quite an impressive reputation as one of the most business-friendly states in America. And honestly, the benefits are pretty remarkable. First off, there's the tax situation, which is honestly so amazing. So Wyoming has no state income tax whatsoever. That means you get to keep more of your hard-earned money instead of handing it over to the government. And when you compare this to states like California or New York, where state taxes can take a huge bite out of your profits, well, the difference is pretty significant. But that's not all. There's actually no franchise tax either. You see, many states will charge you an annual fee just for the privilege of doing business there. Well, Wyoming doesn't do that at all. And when you combine that with some of the lowest filing fees in the country, you're looking at some serious cost savings right from day one. Now, let's talk about asset protection because this is really important. Wyoming offers some of the strongest legal protections for business owners in the entire country. What this means is that your personal assets, things like your house, your car, your savings account, they're much better protected from business-related lawsuits in Wyoming than they would be in most other states. And here's something that's becoming increasingly important in today's digital age: privacy. When you form an LLC in Wyoming, you actually don't have to publicly list the names of members or managers. This is a huge advantage if you're someone who values their privacy and doesn't want their business ownership information readily available to anyone who looks it up. So let's get started with the first practical step: choosing your business name. Now, this might sound simple, but there are actually several important rules you will need to follow. First and foremost, your name needs to be unique within Wyoming. This means no other registered business in the state can have the same or even a deceptively similar name. You'll also need to include specific words in your name. The state requires you to use either limited liability company or an abbreviation like LLC at the end of your business name. So if you wanted to name your business Mountain View Consulting, it would need to be Mountain View Consulting LLC or something similar. Here's a pro tip: before you get too attached to a name, you can actually check if it's available using the Wyoming Secretary of State's online database. This can save you a lot of time and disappointment down the road. And while you're at it, I'd recommend checking if the domain name is available too, because these days having a matching website and address is pretty important for most businesses. Now, let's talk about something that's absolutely crucial: your registered agent. You see, every LLC in Wyoming needs to have what's called a registered agent. This is basically someone who accepts legal documents on behalf of your business, and they need to have a physical address in Wyoming. If you're not a Wyoming resident yourself, you'll definitely need to hire a registered agent service. And honestly, even if you do live in Wyoming, using a professional service can be really helpful. They ensure you never miss important legal documents, and they keep your personal address off public records. Speaking of registered agent services, I highly recommend using Taylor Brands for this. They actually include registered agent service as part of their LLC formation package, and you can find a special discount link for their services in the description and pinned comment below. They make the whole process super straightforward, and their customer service is excellent. Now, let's move on to the actual formation process, which is where things start to get really interesting. Now, filing your articles of organization is where things really get serious. You'll need to head over to the Wyoming Secretary of State's website, and I'll walk you through exactly what information you need to provide. First, you'll enter your LLC name. Remember, it needs to have LLC or limited liability company at the end. Then you'll need to list your principal office address and your registered agent's details. Speaking of registered agents, this is actually a really crucial decision. While you can technically be your own registered agent if you live in Wyoming, I honestly recommend using a professional service like Northwest Registered Agent. They're incredibly reliable, and you can find a special discount link for them in the description and pinned comment below. Now, let's talk about your operating agreement. Even though Wyoming doesn't legally require one, trust me, you absolutely want to have this document in place. Think of it as your LLC's instruction manual. It spells out everything about how your business will run. So what exactly goes into an operating agreement? Well, you'll want to include things like ownership percentages, voting rights, and how profits and losses are distributed. But here's something people often forget: you should also include procedures for what happens if a member wants to leave or if you need to dissolve the business. These situations might seem unlikely now, but having clear guidelines in place can prevent major headaches down the road. All right, next up is getting your EIN or employer identification number. Think of this as your business's social security number. You'll need it for everything from opening a bank account to filing taxes. The good news, it's completely free to get one through the IRS website. Here's a pro tip though. When you're filling out the EIN application, make sure you have all your LLC information readily available. The IRS will ask for things like your LLC's legal name, the date it was formed, and the type of business structure. The whole process usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes if you're prepared. Now, this is something that trips up a lot of new business owners. You might need additional licenses or permits beyond just forming your LLC. The requirements really depend on your industry and location. For example, if you're starting a restaurant, you'll need health permits. If you're going into construction, you'll need contractor's licenses. I recommend checking with your local county's clerk's office and the Wyoming Business Council to make sure you're covering all your bases. The last thing you want is to get everything else set up perfectly only to run into issues because you missed a required permit. Now, let me share some common pitfalls I've seen people run into when forming their Wyoming LLCs. First, don't skip the operating agreement just because it's optional. I've seen this come back to bite people when disagreements arise later. Another big one is trying to handle everything yourself to save money. While the DIY approach can work, using a service like Tailor Brands can actually save you money in the long run by helping you avoid costly mistakes. You can find their discount link in the description and pinned comment below. Also, don't forget about maintaining your LLC after formation. You need to file annual reports, keep your registered agent service active, and update your information with the state when things change. Set reminders for these tasks. They're easy to overlook, but crucial for keeping your LLC in good standing. So, what should you do next? Well, if you're ready to move forward, I highly recommend checking out either Tailor Brands or Northwest Registered Agent through the discount links below. They'll handle all the paperwork and make sure everything's filed correctly. Remember to keep all your LLC formation documents in a safe place. You'll need them for things like opening bank accounts and applying for business loans. And speaking of bank accounts, make sure to set up a separate business account as soon as your LLC is formed. Mixing personal and business finances is a major no-no. Well, that's everything you need to know about forming your Wyoming LLC. If you found this guide helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more business tips. Drop any questions you have in the comments below. I'm always happy to help. Thanks for watching and good luck with your new business venture.